Thank you. And unlike Maddie, we went with rare earths, not lithium. So, well, look. Firstly, thanks to Kerry for pulling this together. It's a difficult market for junior gold equities, and she's done a great job to get these companies in here and all of you in to watch our presentations. So, thanks to Kerry. And I really liked what Matt said about the resource and his resource being constrained by drilling or lack of drilling, and that's something that we can really relate to with our project. We see a lot of growth and a lot of opportunity to grow that resource through drilling, and that's what we're actively doing. Now, the project is our key project is the Murchison Gold Project. It's a high-grade gold project, resource of 1.2 million ounces at 3 grams per tonne. We put out a feasibility study in mid-July, so last month, that outlined our production plans from that project, just under 700,000 ounces of production over about 9 years, about 80,000 ounces a year, and makes really good free cash. So at $2,750 an ounce gold price, Aussie dollar gold price, we make just over $350 million free cash. Strong MPV, and that project is supported. It's in a fantastic operating area in the Murchison, really hot place to be at the moment, and it's supported by fantastic infrastructure. Now, I think that project, it was a great starting point, the feasibility study. We plan to continue drilling and continue growing that resource. We see that resource getting significantly larger and supporting a much larger project, and that feeding through into a much higher production profile or longer mine life. And then outside of the Murchison, our active work with drilling and discovery and exploration, we feel that we've got a potential for large-scale gold discoveries in the Albany-Fraser Mobile Belt, which is down in southern WA. It's the same same belt that hosts the multi-million-ounce Tropicana gold mine. So early days, but we're getting some really encouraging early-stage results. Now, from a corporate perspective, we're led by a very experienced board, and a board that's got a demonstrable track record of creating value in the resources space. Our chairman, Paul Chapman, was the founding shareholder and chairman of Silver Lake Resources, a billion-dollar gold producer. Both Paul Adams and Roger Steiner-Price have created significant value through been involved with companies that have made major discoveries in Western Australia, gold discoveries, been taken out at premiums separately, both by Ramelius Resources, coincidentally. And the management team, we've recently bolstered that with the appointment of Tony Brazier as our CFO and Alan Tandy, who's our environmental and permitting manager, and he's tasked with getting this project, our Murchison Gold Project, through the permitting process over the next 6 months to get it to a point where it's shovel ready. Now, the Murchison Goldfields, it's a hot place to be at the moment. There's consolidation going on, most notably the Q Gold Project, which is Musgrave Minerals, has been, or in the process of being acquired by Ramelius, and that'll provide feed into their Mount Magnet plant. Where we feel that we're strategically located in that field, we're looking to develop a standalone operation, but certainly we benefit from the significant installed processing capacity in that region if we look to go down a toll milling route. The other benefit is that we've got infrastructure in Meeka itself, both a sealed airstrip and accommodation that we can leverage and use as we look to develop this project. So fantastic operating address with fantastic support infrastructure. Now, the feasibility study what we outlined in that study was a standalone development, but the project retains significant flexibility, and the reason for that is the grade. The 3 gram per tonne resource, very high grade, gives us the opportunity to look at different pathways through to production. Now, some of those include refurbishing the existing processing facility at Andy Well. There's a processing facility there that requires it's had the ball mill and gravity circuit removed, so a modest amount of capital to get that back into an operating state. Toll milling, so 100% toll milling through some of the installed infrastructure in that region, or a combination of toll milling to generate cash flow and then using that to fund a much larger standalone development. So the project does retain significant flexibility. And really the opportunity for us now is to go and build on that resource base and grow that resource. And that's the key focus for the business. We own the project 100%. It's a significant land holding. It covers the northern end of the Meeka greenstone belt and the entirety of the Nuita greenstone belt. And really that Nuita greenstone belt that hosts nearly or just over 700,000 ounces at Turnberry and St Anne's is a key target for us for growth. It really has had very little drilling outside of those two deposits, but we know it's a very fertile greenstone belt given the ounces that are in the ground in that resource that's already there that we've defined so far. So the key for us in the near term is to go and drill out, follow-up drill and drill out resources or grow the resource to the north and south of those defined resources at Turnberry and St Anne's. Now, I quickly want to touch on the outcomes of the feasibility study, and then I'll talk about what I really want to focus on, which is the growth. So the feasibility study outlined a 9-year, just over 9-year mine life, about 80,000 ounces a year, peak production in year 6 of about 100,000 ounces, total production just over 650,000 ounces, and look, really leveraged to the gold price. So at $2,750, we make $250 million NPV. At 3,000, so roughly where the spot price is at the moment, we're making over $350 million NPV, over $500 million free cash. So leveraged to the gold price, a really good project for us, foundational project for us, and something that we can build on with further resource growth. Now, the resources that feed into that production plan, this is the high-grade Andy Well mine. This was mined by Doré between 2013 and 2017. Our intention is not to go and do remnant mining in and around the old production stopes. We're going to go and mine new ore bodies. So 3 of the 5 ore bodies that host that 500,000 ounce resource at just under 9 grams per tonne have never been mined. They're all open at depth and they all present opportunities for growth with further drilling, and that's something that we'll do from an underground platform as we re-access that underground mine. The Turnberry deposit, this is a bulk open pit mining opportunity initially, followed by an underground mine. That's what's contemplated in our feasibility study. It's a large ore body. It strikes over 1.7 kilometres. It remains open to the north and to the south and at depth, and as we spoke about earlier, constrained by drilling. So we see this both growing in size as well as seeing the opportunity to discover more gold to the north and south of this. The ore body, this is a long section that shows the Turnberry ore body. This is the mine plan that's built around that mineral resource model. So what you're seeing there is not the resource, it's the stope shapes. So the modifying factors, the mining modifying factors have been applied to that. The resource itself runs at about 1,600 ounces per vertical metre down to a depth of about 200 metres below surface. And the reason that it drops off, the OVMs drop off at that depth, is a function of drilling. So there's certainly opportunity to grow this with further drilling at depth. And that's something that we'll do in the future. The key focus for us now is to go and find more of these along strike from this existing mineralisation. St Anne's, this is a resource that we discovered last year, very high grade resource in places, over 20 grams per tonne in some of the drill intersections, lots of free gold in the drilling when we were drilling this thing out. And again, it's open at depth, it's open along strike, and with further drilling we see this modest resource growing, and that's something that we'll do again in the future. Now what I really want to talk about is the growth opportunity, and this is what we see with the Nuita greenstone belt. It's an Archean greenstone belt. It strikes for 25 kilometres. We capture the majority of those greenstones within our tenement package. What we see here is a greenstone belt that's had very broad space reconnaissance style drilling, and where that reconnaissance style drilling is defined gold, and that's been followed up and had infill drilling, we've managed to define material resources both at Turnberry, at St Anne's, where we've got over 700,000 ounces in resource now. Outside of that, it's broad space, and it needs to be followed up. And what we find in that historical drilling is that it's ineffective, and the function and the reason for that is that it's got a 10 to 15 metre transported cover horizon, so that shallow RAB and air core drilling has been ineffective in defining where the mineralisation sits. But where we do see low-level gold anomalism and arsenic anomalism, that's very important in terms of the gold mineralisation in this belt, and it needs to be followed up. and it's significant, and it's something that we're in the process of doing now. And something that we did last year was exactly that. We went and drilled in and around some historical results where we got low-level gold and arsenic anomalism, and you can see the grades that we got in that drilling, 32 metres at 16, 20 at 20. Those are intersections that informed what is now the St. Anne's deposit. So that's sort of what we're aiming to find in this belt, very high-grade pods of mineralisation, and we see the opportunity to do that along strike from Turnberry and St. Anne's. And specifically in the immediate term, it's to focus in and around that 7-kilometre corridor between Turnberry and St. Anne's. And what I want to exemplify here is what was seen at Turnberry when they initially made that discovery and started drilling that out, and what that turned into. So you can see from the slide, Turnberry strikes over about 1.8 kilometres. When Newcrest went in 1994 and drilled that out with a program of air core drilling, they drilled over a 1.8 kilometres strike by 500 metres width. They drilled 100 holes, or just over 100 holes. 22 of those holes hit low-level mineralisation, and only 4 of those holes intersected grades above a gram. We've now put over, and so it doesn't, if you look at those intersections, they're very similar to intersections that you can see on the slide outside of that immediate Turnberry area. We've now put over 100,000 metres of drilling into Turnberry, and that's grown to just under 700,000 ounces. So the opportunity for us here is to go and find more of these Turnberry-style deposits that host that significant quantities of gold mineralisation in that 7-kilometre zone between, or just from the north of Turnberry to St. Anne's. So that's the immediate focus for us, is go and follow up some of this historic shallow drilling, go and flesh that drilling out. We've got all the hallmarks of mineralisation there, low-level gold, arsenic. We need to go and put some more, this is broad-spaced reconnaissance-style drilling. We need to go and infill that drilling and hopefully build up this resource base. So that's the key focus for the business over the next 6 to 12 months, is to build on that build on that resource base and the metrics that we put out in that initial feasibility study, and grow that resource above the 1.2 million ounces that we've got at present. Now, outside of the Murchison, we're also getting fantastic exploration results. We're not actively drilling at Circle Valley at the moment, but it's something that's certainly something that we'll be following up in the coming over the next 12 months. And that what we see there, it's a very different style of mineralisation to what we see in the Murchison. It's a much younger package of geology. We've got all of the ingredients we believe that are necessary for a large mineral system. We're on the margin of the Yilgarn. We've got what we believe is a large granite intrusion to the south, which provides the heat and the motive forces to mobilise those mineralising fluids. And you can see from the aeromagnetics on that imagery that it's a very complex, structurally complex package of geology, which is what you want when you're looking for gold mineralisation. And you can see some of the drill results on that slide that we intersected over the last 2 years as we've gone through and done some reconnaissance drilling there. Our very first hole hit 23 metres at 5 grams per tonne. We've now drilled out to the east of that and fleshed out those zones of mineralisation. We've also drilled at fence line 10 kilometres to the northeast of Anomaly A and hit primary mineralisation there. So it's something that's early stages. It's very interesting. It's in a younger rock package than what we see in the Archean greenstones in the Murchison, but something that has the potential to turn into a significant zone of gold mineralisation, and it's in that same belt as Tropicana I mentioned earlier. So that's an exciting growth opportunity for us outside of the Murchison, and something that we'll be looking to follow up on next 12 months. Thanks very much, and happy to take questions at our booth.